My name is Roland Willemoes. Welcome to this video on how to turn visitors into customers. So let me start with some clarification there. When I say a visitor, I basically mean a browser accessing the website or a device, and we haven't yet identified it. We might know that the device or browser has been looking at different and various pages on the site, performing some actions, but we haven't anything to identify them with yet. And when I say customer in a Sitecore CDP context, this is when we have sort of identified this browser device. Normally that would be with a user ID, a username, or an email in most cases. With Sitecore CDP, that is actually configurable. What piece of data that for Sitecore CDP turn this anonymous visitor into a customer. And that is basically something that you set up, agree with Sitecore before you get your Sitecore CDP instance. And you can always go and check how that looks. And let me show you where you can find that piece. So underneath the company here, system settings, company information. And with the debug turned on, you can actually go and watch the JSON definition of that. And as you see here, there's a identity index configuration, email in this case. And below that, there's identity index priority. And that's because you can have multiple pieces of data in a specific order or priority that again identify that visitor to become a customer. So when this piece of data, in this case email, is pushed to Sitecore CDP, a previously anonymous visitor will turn into a customer. And that is done through what Sitecore CDP defines as identity event. If you look at the definition here on the documentation website, there's a bunch of data elements you can push to it, and of course it all depends whether how that is set up, whether that was the custom ID, username, or email. In this case is email. And when it's email, actually you can use simply the email attribute here. And in some cases you need to do to follow the full identity specification down here and push that. So this is all kind of easy if you have a website with a login, right? An e-commerce website or any other portal that requires you to log in, because you can always push that through the login or when you place an order, stuff like that. I'm going to use our company website, alphasolutions.com, which is not an e-commerce website. It doesn't have a login. So I need to figure something else out to sort of get that identification from the user. And obviously I'm going to look at some context form we have on different pages out there. So for that to happen, it can be done in different ways. So with Sitecore XP, we of course have the forms module, and we have added a custom piece to it so we can push that data that getting pushed into Sitecore to any kind of endpoint. Or another option would be simply to push a simple JavaScript, look for a form on the page, if that's there, attach an event to it, and perform this identity event. For this video, I actually just used a simple JavaScript. So if you take a small look how that could look like, it's basically just checking in the beginning that it's only on the US side, US part of our website. And if there's a form there, I'm going to attach to that form and add an event listener. That happens, I'm going to push this identity event to Sitecore CDP. I have filled out a bunch of different fields. Some forms on our website have it, some doesn't. In this case, if you look at this page, you actually only have an email field, that's all. And I have used our Google Tag Manager just to push this on every single page. Of course, a nicer way would be to just push it on the pages that actually have a form. So let's see how that looks like. To begin with, let me just refresh this one a bit, and we can go in here. Let's go find that anonymous user. That's not it. Here we go, the visitor. This is most likely it. Let me see if we can refresh this piece. And let's see if this is the user. Most likely is. Yep, look at that. Less than a minute ago. Customer data for form page. This was it. And I have a form here. So let's see what's going on. Actually, before we do it, let me pull up the developer tools so we can look at the network tab. So let me go here with the network tab open, let me go put in a email address. Clicking I'm not a robot, and let's submit it. So if we look at the network tab here, a couple of events is being pushed. One of them is our identity event as expected. The other one was just a page view event, which we do on all pages anyway. So if we go back to Sitecore here and update it, we'll see that less than a minute ago that my email address got in and the user suddenly was identified. And the visitor up here, if I just refresh this one, you will see that this user is now not a visitor, it's actually turned into a customer. So pretty simple stuff, right? Very easy to add a form here, push an identity event, and now suddenly we know every time and every page this user accessed the site based on the cookies they have on the browser, on the device, what they've been doing, and we can use that, of course, to either create some personalized experiences for them. We can contact them maybe, send emails to them, and so on and so forth. Thank you for watching.